Hurricanes by a score of 4-2 at MSG. This was the first visit by the Carolina Hurricanes to New York. And this was definitely a game that had a lot of anticipation, just because of the fact of where these two teams are in the standings. Going into the game, Rangers were 2 points behind Carolina. Now they leave this game 4 points behind. And as I've said, in terms of where they actually land in the standings, being in the 2 spot may not be such a bad thing. But it still would have been nice to have beaten Carolina. It didn't happen. The Rangers really played well early. And then I would say somewhere along the line of the second period, really the second half of the game, Carolina was the better team, absolutely. The good news, Chris Kreider scores his 50th goal. So it's unfortunate that he gets this, really amazing milestone goal on a loss, but impressive in the fact that he gets 50. This is the first game that he played with 49 goals to start, as he scored 2 goals in the last game against the Senators, and he gets it done right away. So with 8 games left, 4 goals to tie Jaromir Jagr's record, 54. It can be done. It can absolutely be done, which I'm rooting for. That would be amazing. If he can break the all-time single-season record for goals in a season, that'd be amazing. But like that, it needs to be a talking point. Chris Kreider getting his 50th goal of the season with 8 games to go, just remarkable. So it's kind of a good news, bad news situation. But the Rangers, lineup-wise, it was the same. And Patrick Nemeth considered out for personal reasons. There's something going on there. There was the COVID situation with him. Obviously, his wife gave birth to their child. And so he was out, on paternity leave. But there's something going on that maybe we'll find out at the end of the year, because there's just I don't know what it is. It would just be pure speculation. But I think, again, like that's something that it's been strange, but what can we really say? We don't know what it is. So Nemeth out for personal reasons, and maybe just as well. But brought in again, and Philip Hedl out. Another game. It seems like he'll be back soon. Will he be back tomorrow at Philly? Remains to be seen. I'm going to guess no, but I think he'll be coming back soon. Maybe Saturday against Detroit. Igor Shesterkin struggled. In this game. It's a team thing. I think Carolina deserved to win, and I think they were going to win one way or another. But Igor was not great. This was a game. I was disappointed in him in this one. I have to be honest. And he's had, his fair share of games that weren't great, but this one upset me more than most. So this was the return of 4 Rangers, and the way they actually did it was Jesper Fast got his own. And out of the 4, Jesper Fast, it makes sense. Jesper Fast was with the Rangers the longest out of those 4, was involved in, didn't have a huge role in the 2014 Stanley Cup final team, but did play some games within that playoff stretch. Really had a much bigger role in the 2015 team, the President's Trophy winning team that lost in Game 7 at Tampa. He, and was on the team through 2020. Ironically, really his last moment as a Ranger was a hit by Brady Shea, who had newly been on Carolina. Little did we know soon thereafter Foss would become a Hurricane. But Foss gets a tribute, as well as the next stoppage. Brady Shea, Brendan Smith, and Tony DeAngelo. DeAngelo's interesting because obviously the way he left and everything that surrounds him. We don't want to get into that, but DeAngelo, there definitely were some boos for him. Not a surprise, but this was definitely a reunion game of some sort. But the Rangers, I thought, played a really strong first period, and they outshot Carolina 14-8. They look good. It was a very encouraging start. And against Carolina, that goals are going to be hard to come by. So I thought that was good. What wasn't good was the power play. Carolina's got the best penalty kill in the league, and the Rangers' power play did not do anything. That's a big, big thing, is that Rangers, it wasn't even like really there were many chances, to be honest. They just were completely stifled. Brady Shea, cross-check Barclay Goodrow. Goodrow definitely got involved in drawing penalties. We'll talk about that. But Shea is actually interesting. A lot of the former Rangers took penalties, come to think of it, but didn't matter. Shea, penalty, killed off. Brett Pesce hooks Chris Kreider later in the period as well, killed off. So we go to the second, no score. And a minute and 3 seconds in, Keandre Miller scores his 7th goal of the season. Keandre Miller was the best Ranger on the ice by far. Very impressive game for Keandre Miller. I really view that Miller-Trouba pair. That's really, to me, your number one shutdown pair. And maybe that's, at this point, I guess it's an obvious statement, but Keandre Miller is really taking steps to becoming a very good NHL defenseman. It's encouraging. I thought he was tremendous and rewarded for a goal, assist to Zibanejad and Frank Vetrano. I thought Frank Vetrano for a while was buzzing and eventually had a chance to even hit it. His shot went off the post. Might have gotten a piece of Freddie Anderson, the Carolina goalie, first. But Vetrano, I thought, was really hustling, made a great defensive play earlier. Didn't notice Vetrano as much later in the game, but early on was really noticeable. So the Rangers take that 1-0 lead. And Vetrano would soon thereafter take a penalty, but the Rangers kill it off. He would hold Vincent Trocheck, I guess his former teammate with the Panthers. And then Brendan Smith takes a penalty against Barclay Goodrow. Rangers don't score. And then later on, Smith kind of cross-checks an unsuspecting Goodrow, and no penalty, and it looked like it may have been accidental. I'm not so sure. I think Smith kind of saw him coming, but that was a battle. And, again, Goodrow is one of those guys that come playoff time, you want him on the team. But I will say this, that Goodrow centering Lafreniere and Kakko line, it just doesn't work. I don't think it works. Kakko, it's been 2 games, but he has not looked right. As I said last game, I didn't love his game then. Didn't love it really tonight either. Willing to give the benefit of the doubt for sure. He was out for a while. So, but if he doesn't produce in a few games, I don't know. I don't know what that means. But I do think that the lines need to be reconfigured a little bit because the bottom 6, it's not great the way I see it right now. And Carolina would tie it up. And this, to me, was the biggest goal of the game. Andrei Svechnikov scores his 29th goal of the season at 13:38. And this was a play where Igor Shesterkin, Svechnikov's kind of behind the net, bad angle goal, banks it off Igor. Those were types of goals that he was giving up last season. But he had really cleaned it up this year. But that was not a good one. Igor cannot allow that to happen at a time where Carolina was starting to kind of take control, but it still felt like the Rangers, were still playing well. To me, after that goal especially, Carolina just took over completely. And the Rangers were almost fortunate, I think, to stay tied going into the third. But that wouldn't last long. Early in the third, Seth Jarvis is kind of all alone on, I guess, a mini breakaway and scores his 14th goal of the season at 102. Aho gets a second assist. Jarvis gets his second point as he had gotten an assist on the Svechnikov goal. And Brady Shea would get the first of 2 assists for him. So that was a play where Jacob Trouba probably is a little too aggressive. It put Keandre Miller in a tough spot, and Jarvis gets by them and scores. That was a little bit too aggressive by Trouba. And so it's 2-1 Carolina right there. And Carolina would continue to really keep going, and they would score. Jordan Staal scores his 14th goal of the season, assisted by 2 former Rangers, Shea, his second assist, and Jesper Fast. And that's, like I said, at 6:42. And that was not a great goal by Igor as well. That's one that I think he'd like to have back. So Carolina makes it 3-1. They're dominating at this point. Then after that, it kind of shifts a little bit. I mean, we're talking about a low bar because Carolina was really dominating. And Tony DeAngelo slashes Keandre Miller. And Miller, a really nice move to create that. And again, Keandre Miller was great in this game. So the Rangers have a power play, but it ends because Ryan Strome, he hadn't done it in a while, offensive zone hooking, stick infraction because it's Strome. And that ends the power play. I did not like Ryan Strome's game. Just going to say that. And then in terms of that third goal, the 4th line was on. Ryan Reeves needs to not be in this lineup when it really counts. And that's why Tyler Mott being out hurts that cause. That's why I did not like that injury. When Filipino comes back, that should help. But I don't know. The Hunt, Rooney, Reeves line, that was all right earlier in the year. Now, I don't know. You can live with one, at most two of those guys. For me, I know I'm hard on Reeves, but I just feel like it's not – it looks like he's skating in mud. So Strome ends that power play. Did not like Ryan Strome's game at all. And so the Rangers would pull the goalie, and Chris Kreider is able to bury the loose change in front, cleaning up as he does. His 50th goal of the season, amazing, assisted by Andrew Kopp and Ryan Strome at 18:22. So the Rangers have some life. They have a chance, and they would have some more chances down one. But eventually, with about 5-6 seconds left, Sebastian Aho caps off a really great night for him. 34th goal of the season. It would be his third point of the night. And Carolina wins it 4-2. They deserved to win. They did. And Freddie Anderson, I'd say, outplayed Shesterkin, which is not what you want to see. Carolina is a team that I do not want to play complete. I've been saying it all year long, and I'm going to continue to say it. I don't think that works out well for the Rangers if it happens. And so now, standings-wise, the Rangers are 4 points behind Carolina. That's going to be tough. They're 5 points ahead of Pittsburgh, and the Rangers have a game in hand, so that's looking pretty good still. But what's interesting is Washington is 3 points behind Pittsburgh, and Washington has 2 games in hand. So where it looked like it was going to be Rangers-Penguins, it might be Rangers-Capitals. And I don't think the Penguins and Capitals, there's a huge difference there. The style of play is different, but just the overall feel is similar. I still give the Rangers the advantage in either of those matchups. Capitals are a little bit heavier than the Penguins, but both are more veteran-type teams that have won in the past and have had recent struggles in the postseason. It's a similar situation to me when you really fully break it down, generally speaking. So that's going to be something to look at. And as we head to this game tomorrow against the Flyers, I don't know what to expect because the Capitals just beat Philly 9-2. And like I always say, you don't want to play a team that just got embarrassed. The caveat here being that Philly's season is basically over. So I don't think there's any carryover effect where the Rangers are upset that they got that shootout loss about a week or so ago at the Garden. I don't think there's any ramifications there. What it should do is the Rangers should take it seriously, knowing that they lost to Philly at the Garden. But coming off this emotional game against Carolina for the Rangers, I truly don't know what to expect. What I will say is it will be Georgiev. Hopefully he can kind of carry over the success of that Devil game that he had. He wasn't tested a whole lot, but he played pretty well. He has been winning, even though it hasn't been pretty. He's been bailed out by his team at times. He's played well at times. So expect Georgiev and expect some lineup changes. I just wouldn't be surprised if you might see some fresh bodies. A Johnny Brodzinski comes to mind, just as an example. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets thrown in there. But this is a game that for the Rangers, you want to keep it moving. You lose to Carolina, that's one thing, but hopefully they can kind of rectify it in what won't be an easy game. And I'm expecting like kind of that Detroit game, 5-4, 4-3, like sloppy, a lot of offense, not structured defensively. So could be a fun game, but it might be a game where Gerard Gallant kind of wants to pull his hair out, the few remaining hairs that he has left. But anyway, Rangers lose to Carolina. The good news is Chris Kreider gets his 50th goal of the season, an amazing accomplishment. And so we will see if Kreider can somehow tie or even break the single-season goal record for the New York Rangers.